Welcome, folks. I am Jaby Koay, joined by ACHARA KIRK.
Hello.
We've got the CYBERPUNK 2077 official trailer, The Gig. So, here we go. Let's just jump right into it, shall we?
I love this town. The city of endless opportunity. Ready to get your cherry popped? Yeah, come on.
This ain't like any other, just bigger.
Nah, mano, not just any other city. Legends are born here.
The major leagues. We're only here because Dex is pulling the strings. Doubt that puts us in the same league as them.
But we are. They just don't know it yet. But if you got the cojones and you know how to use them, you can do damn near anything.
Unless you catch a bullet.
Even then, you go out with a bang, right?
You know, you can make heaps more eddies as a motivational speaker.
Yo, Mr. V, a pleasure.
So what's the gig, Dex? You meant to come out in one piece? How about we go over the plan?
There's this prototype tech, a biochip to be precise. Job's to grab it.
Guessing it belongs to a corp.
Arasaka.
We are robbing some heavy hitters.
Thought you could blackmail me, fucker!
High risk, high reward. First rule of the afterlife.
Ka-ching, baby.
Goes without saying, we do this on the hush. Ideally, no bodies, not a one.
Sounds simple enough.
Is it gonna be dangerous?
Don't you worry, amor. We're bulletproof. And our ass moving now!
What the fuck just happened in there?
Can't stop digging Night City.
Fucking major leagues. Happy now, Jackie?
Get up! Let's fucking hide! Time to bail!
Oh my god, we're so fucked.
Dix, what the fuck?
Can't risk it, V.
And you. Who are you? Fuck.
Oh my god! Alright, straight to the pre-order.
I haven't seen this much excitement around a game that has been, like, just showing you commercials and, like, showing you teases. I haven't seen this much excitement since Watch Dogs. And I remember there was a trailer for Watch Dogs that dropped where people were like, wait, that's not the game that was promised us. And so I'm really, really hoping that when this finally drops, people are satisfied with, like, there's so much hype put into this that, like, I'm concerned that there's no way that it can meet the expectation that, like, everyone has for it now, if that makes any kind of sense. I certainly get the feeling of, like, Watch Dogs and Grand Theft Auto and Blade Runner 2049.
Yes.
All combined in one. And it's
all of those.
It's such a cool idea. I mean, I don't know what else to say that I haven't already said about this game, but I'm most excited to play it on PC. I'll say that much.
Yeah. I mean, it does look stunning, and like with the amount of work that they put into it, and of course with the tech that we have now. I haven't actually played Grand Theft Auto. I've been watching you play Grand Theft Auto 5 an awful lot, and this really does remind me of that, like that sort of really big world and driving your car around, doing missions, beating people up and all that. I mean, this looks so much more, well, I don't know if it's so much more edgy, but I feel like there's a lot more gore that I'm seeing here, like the violence and stuff.
Sure, that's fair. I mean, there is certainly more gore than Grand Theft Auto 5. Grand Theft Auto 5 is more edgy, I'd say. Like, I don't know. I
don't know. I got that sense because you get that kind of seedy underworld sense because, you know, in like Grand Theft Auto 5, you can go to the strip club. Actually, I have played it once, and that was my favorite thing to do. But, you know, because you get that sense of these people in the underworld, and there's lots of interesting characters. And the one that's kind of just making me so curious is the Keanu Reeves character. Like, when does that happen? How does that work? Will you get to play as him? Like,
given how much
so many questions.
Given how much we see him in the trailers, I would imagine his role in Cyberpunk is not enormous. I would imagine that his role is just good enough that's like, oh my god, there's Keanu Reeves, and then you move on. Kind of like his appearance in other stuff like SpongeBob or whatever. I forget where else he's made an appearance, but he's shown up everywhere. Oh, the cat one. Is it called Keanu?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like that. Like he just makes these random appearances, and I feel like it's the same thing here where they paid him to come in for a day just to do some fun, cool stuff, and then he bounced. It's enough to get people to pay attention. I'm gonna sound like such a prude, but I feel like this trailer is trying to edgelord a little bit, because in the earlier trailers, it didn't show this level of violence, this level of profanity, which is fine. I mean, it's totally fine that that's where the game's gonna go. It illustrates to you before you purchase that it's gonna be on the level of Grand Theft Auto, that kind of stuff, where you will hear lots of F-bombs, you will see lots of violence and gore and whatnot. But that's just not what was introduced to me earlier, as far as I remember from previous trailers. Totally fine. Like, if that's the game that they wanted to make and that's what they're selling, then cool. I just don't think that it necessarily needed to go there in order to sell. I think there was a lot of hype behind it before they revealed all that stuff, if that makes any kind of sense. Okay, for me, for instance, like my favorite game is Infamous 2, and that's, if you were to use American film rating systems, that would be like a PG-13, right? You still get edginess and violence, but you don't necessarily get gore or lots of cussing. Even though there is some profanity, it's not to the level of Grand Theft Auto 5. Whereas this is taking it all the way that direction. And I don't think it needed to in order to sell. And I think that you open yourself up to a wider audience when you don't do that, if you don't have to, if that makes any kind of sense. Like,
no, that totally makes sense, but like, maybe that's just what they wanted to do. Like, they wanted to make a really mature game. This is for the adults. And I mean, thematically, it seems that way. I can see a lot of people just like really getting into it and enjoying it a whole lot.
No, I mean, that might have been the plan from the get-go. I didn't notice any of that in previous trailers is all I'm trying to say. It's not a big deal. I just thought it was worth mentioning. The other thing that comes to mind, which is also not a rated R film, for whatever reason, is AI. And in particular, or no, hold on, I take that back. Not AI, Minority Report. It's another Spielberg film. If you remember in Minority Report, there's a scene where Tom Cruise is walking around and he's in a seedy kind of lounge where guys are like having these digital prostitutes, so to speak. And you can see that happening. And there's a similar scene here where these guys are in what I thought was like a strip club or a prostitution ring, but it's not like real. It's all digital mental stuff.
Oh, I
don't know. It seemed like a combination somewhere in between. I couldn't really tell.
I see a sexy lady coming towards me on a table.
Yeah.
I'm a little distracted.
Well, I thought I saw something to that effect that was very Minority Report-esque.
Yeah.
And so what you are getting here, what it seems like, is a very Grand Theft Auto 5 or Grand Theft Auto in general set in the future.
Yeah.
You're doing heists, you're doing missions and whatnot.
Yeah, and I think that's the really interesting thing about it is the whole world, like the detail that they've gone into for the look, the costumes, like all of the neon and stuff. It's just really, it's really interesting, and as you like to say a lot, it's really inviting. It's something a little bit different than the other games that you might be getting, and like, I think it looks really, really cool.
Yeah, the only other game I can think of off the top of my head that has had so much hype, there's only a handful of times I can think of a game that had a lot of hype, and that hype was met with, like, the expectations were met, which is The Last of Us. The first Last of Us game had a lot of hype behind it, and everyone was satisfied with it. Well, most people were satisfied with it, I should say. And I'd say that, same thing happened with, like, Metal Gear Solid 4. There was a lot of hype behind that, and then it was pretty satisfied for most people who played it.
Yeah, like I really hope that they hit the mark with this game because there is so much hype surrounding it.
Now that I'm looking at the ending splash, I'm wondering if I should get it on PC still or if I should get it on PS5 or Xbox Series X. Because the ability to load quickly, to jump back in the game anytime you want is pretty cool, and I haven't figured out a way to do that on my PC. I'm pretty sure that my PC will be able to handle this game like very, very, very well. But the convenience of the PS5 and the Xbox Series X is a little bit hard to pass up. So I have to figure out what I'm gonna do. But,
yeah, I mean, it's coming out in November, right? So does that mean that the new consoles will be coming out around then too? Or you get this first?
Xbox will come out sooner. I mean, I don't know exactly how they're gonna do that, but Xbox, at the very worst, what'll happen is when you buy your Xbox Series X, I think that comes out in November, you can just download the game if they don't have copies on the shelf ready for you, which I'm sure they will. And with the PlayStation 5, I thought that was being delayed. I don't know anything about what's going with release dates anymore, but you can just download the game. So you don't even have to worry about getting a copy.
It's cool that this was all shot in-game. I mean, the detail and everything looks really, really great. Maybe it is one of those that you would really like to play on your PS5 to get that seamless experience. You know?
Sure.
So that like, it just feels like one big long cutscene that you're involved in.
I think the last thing worth mentioning and comparing it to is Altered Carbon. I feel like there's got to be some kind of element of that in here. Anything with kind of cyberpunky.
Yeah, cyberpunky.
Futuristic stuff and, you know, enhancing your body and whatnot. Did you ever see the movie Final Cut with Robin Williams?
No.
That's an interesting film also. Like, I'm just thinking of all these interesting references and I wonder what were the inspirations. Like, I would love to look at the behind the scenes booklet for Cyberpunk 2077. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna keep it, but I have the Last of Us 2 Collector's Edition, and they have like the behind the scenes booklet that really shows you kind of the origins, the beginnings of all this stuff. And I just wonder what films or books or previous games inspired this particular game. The look of it, the feel of it, how they built the world. Yeah, I'd love to know. So I would probably pre-order this for if they have some sort of special box set just to learn that stuff. Or you could just buy it off Amazon after the game comes out so you don't waste $200 on getting extra items that you don't necessarily want. Gold Gun. Golden costume. Thanks you guys so much for hanging out. Hopefully you enjoyed some of that. I want to know from you guys in the comments below, are you getting it on PS4, Xbox One X, or are you gonna get it for PS5, Series X, or PC? I'd love to know from you guys in the comments below. Check out ACHARA KIRK on the social media, as well as myself, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.